TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations.
Shalom and good evening. I am Ayan Hassan, and this is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. In a joint operation, the IDF and ISA successfully recovered the bodies of 2 Israeli hostages in the southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis. The International Atomic Energy Agency has formally censored Iran for failing to comply with its commitments under the nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. The Islamic Republic of Iran is now threatening to strike across the Middle East, as the United States orders all non-essential personnel to evacuate the region. The IDF, in coordination with the Israel Security Agency, has successfully recovered the remains of 2 Israeli hostages last night in a special operation in the southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis. Both hostages were abducted from the community of Nir Oz and murdered by the Iranian-backed Palestinian Islamic Jihad during the October 7th massacre. One of the victims has been identified as 59-year-old Yair Yaakov, who was kidnapped alongside his partner and sons from their home. The identity of the second hostage has not yet been cleared for publication. His family has been notified that his remains were recovered. Meanwhile, visiting Argentinian President Javier Milei addressed Israel's parliament earlier today. During his speech, he underscored that the remains of 4 Argentinian nationals murdered by Palestinian terror groups are still held in Gaza.
As of today, 55 remain in captivity, including 4 Argentines, Eitan Horn, David and Ariel Cuneo, and Lior Rudev. We will continue to demand their immediate and unconditional release.
It is important to note that President Milei's remarks came prior to the announcement of the IDF-ISA recovery operation. The number of hostages currently held in the Gaza Strip now stands at 53. Also addressing the Knesset, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised President Milei for his unwavering support for Israel throughout the ongoing conflict, now entering its 20th month.
For 20 months, we have been fighting the human monsters who slaughtered, kidnapped, beheaded, burned, and raped on October 7th, 2023. In the face of this brutal, unprecedented aggression aimed at our citizens and communities, you said in clear words, "We are by your side in the battle against the forces of darkness." Thank you for standing by us in the battle against the forces of darkness. You stood on the side of the truth and against the lie, with the understanding that this is an incomparably just war. This is a war of barbarity that threatens not only us, it threatens the entire world.
President Milei in turn emphasized that the free world is engaged in, quote, an existential and moral battle between good and evil. Prime Minister Netanyahu echoed those sentiments, reaffirming Israel's commitment to stand firm on what he called the front lines of the civilized world.
A nation that defends itself against barbarism, such as Israel, is considered the aggressor, while terrorism is tolerated in the most hypocritical manner. It is important to understand that we are in an existential and moral battle between good and evil, a battle that we began to lose the moment we stopped distinguishing between the two. Israel is the fortress of democracy in the Middle East, a front line of the civilized world in our region, a violent, difficult, jealous region. If, God forbid, we were to fall, it will not happen. But if that were to happen, large parts of the world would fall into the hands of these vile zealots. But we, as I said, with the help of God, will not fall and will not surrender. We will win. We will overthrow the Hamas regime in the Gaza Strip. We will return all of our hostages home, all of them without exception, both the living and the dead. We will make sure that Gaza will no longer threaten Israel. The Bible says, I don't know how to say it in Spanish. Someone will translate it for you. Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion and lift up himself as a young lion. This is the spirit of our people and our heroic soldiers.
The Israeli leader also addressed the growing regional threat posed by Iran, emphasizing what he called the regime's persistent effort to destroy the nation-state of the Jewish people.
The tyrannical regime in Iran is still trying to send its terrorist arms everywhere. In the current war, the war of resurrection, we have crushed large parts of Iran's evil axis. But the threat exists, and we are paying attention to it in order to ensure Israel's security.
Meanwhile, in Austria, in a move that deeply frustrated the Ayatollah regime in Tehran, a joint resolution that was tabled yesterday, brought forward by the United States, France, Britain, and Germany, was passed today at the International Atomic Energy Agency. The resolution formally censures Iran for violating its commitments under the Non-Proliferation Treaty. It was adopted with 19 votes in favor out of the 35 member states, 3 against and 11 abstentions. The Iranian Foreign Ministry and National Atomic Energy Agency issued a joint statement condemning the vote, calling it political, claiming the resolution has completely called into question the credibility and prestige of the nuclear watchdog.
They falsely claim that the Islamic Republic of Iran has not fulfilled its obligations under the Non-Proliferation Treaty. This is a blatant lie. There is no evidence to support this. No inspector's report from the agency exists that, based on the regulations, shows the Islamic Republic of Iran or its Atomic Energy Organization has opposed or obstructed their duties. Not a single case or word in their reports indicates this.
Iranian Atomic Energy Organization chief Mohammad Islami vowed a strong response, and within hours the regime announced it would begin to replace outdated IR-1 centrifuges with more advanced IR-6 models at the Forgo nuclear enrichment plant. This move significantly shortens Iran's potential breakout time to a nuclear weapon. At the same time, tensions across the Middle East are rapidly intensifying. The United States has ordered all non-essential personnel to evacuate the region amid growing security concerns.
We're hearing reports that U.S. personnel are being moved out of the region within striking distance.
Well, they are being moved out because it could be a dangerous place, and we'll see what happens. But we've given notice to move out, and we'll see what happens.
Is there anything that can be done to dial the temperature down in the region?
They can't have a nuclear weapon. Very simple.
Tensions escalated sharply following Iran's outright rejection of long-standing U.S. demand issued by the Trump administration to halt all uranium enrichment. Moreover, in separate congressional hearings in Washington, senior U.S. officials repeatedly affirmed their readiness to confront the Islamic Republic over its race towards attaining nuclear weapons.
As to Iran, they say they want to kill all the Jews. Do you agree with them?
I believe they mean what they chant. Yes, Senator.
Do you agree with that, General King?
Sir, I think they've got some agendas for sure to.
Well, is that agenda to use a nuclear weapon against Israel?
Sir, I think they would potentially.
They had a nuclear weapon. Would they use it against Israel? In your professional military judgment.
Sir, I think they'd use it to pressure Israel. I don't know whether they would use it.
Well, is it 50-50, 60-40, 70-10? What is
Sir,
it?
I don't know what the percentage is.
Well, you can't be wrong, can you? What does Israel think?
Sir, I think they think they would potentially.
What do you think, Mr. Secretary? If they had a nuclear weapon, would they use it to wipe out Israel?
I think Israel believes, quite understandably.
Do you believe that?
That it is an existential
Do
threat
you
to their
believe
existence.
that?
Hold on, and then in the hands of the wrong Iranian, a cleric or a radical that they would seek to
Well,
use
is
it.
this a radical cleric that exists there today?
Well, as of
If
right
he's
now,
not,
yes.
who the hell would be? So I'm trying to get everybody to think, let's don't do what we did in the 30s. They're going to use a nuclear weapon if they get it. Are they trying to build a nuclear weapon versus a peaceful nuclear power program, Mr. Secretary? Have the Iranians been trying to build a nuke?
There are plenty of indications that they have been moving their way towards something that would look a lot like a nuclear weapon.
The United States and Israel, in coordination with European allies and other partners, have reportedly been preparing for a large-scale strike targeting Iran's nuclear, ballistic missile, and other strategic infrastructure. In response, the Ayatollah regime is scrambling to project strength.
God willing, it won't come to that, and the talks will yield results. But if they don't, and conflict is imposed on us, the enemy's losses will undoubtedly be greater than ours. In that case, America will have to leave the region because all its bases are within our reach. We have access to them, and without hesitation, we will target all of them in the host countries.
However, it is crucial to note that Iran's threats carry limited credibility, as a full-scale war could result in the collapse of the Ayatollah regime. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. We ask you to keep the hostages and IDF soldiers in your prayers, along with a prayer for the peace of Jerusalem. I am Ayan Hessen, wishing you a Shabbat Shalom. Looking forward to seeing you during our next update. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.